Please be aware this was recorded during the closed beta, which means things could change, numbers may be tweaked, and I will add captions to this video if they do. However, I do not expect playstyles to change, but I will come back and redo the guide if required. Junkrat, aka Jamie Fawkes, is a little crazy. No, wait, that's a major understatement. He is batshit bonkers, and he needs to keep exploding things, otherwise there will not be enough explosions in the world, and what a terrible thing that would be. Let's get into his abilities and find out what he's all about. Junkrat's weapon is his frag launcher, bouncing explosive projectile weapon. Each grenade does 120 damage for a direct hit with a small knockback and splash damage as low as 10 if the enemy is 2 meters from the explosion. Junkrat fires once every 0.75 seconds, allowing him to output a maximum of 160 damage per second before reloading. The grenades will explode as soon as they make contact with something they can damage. This includes enemy heroes, enemy shields, and destructible environment. If they do not contact any of those things, they will explode after the third bounce. To be clear, the grenades are not on a timer, they explode after bouncing 3 times. Junkrat can be damaged by his own grenades, up to a maximum of 40 HP and no bonus headshot damage. Junkrat's shift ability is Concussion Mine. Throw a knockback mine with shift, then detonate it with right mouse button. This can only be detonated by clicking the right mouse button and deals 120 damage to any enemy within the blast zone, which is about 3 meters. There is no fall off, it is 120 damage or the enemy is unaffected. The mine will not damage Junkrat, but it will knock him back as well as enemies. Allies are not affected, and only one mine can be active on the map at any time, but enemies can destroy it if spotted. Junkrat's E ability is Steel Trap. Place an immobilizing trap. When triggered, this deals 80 damage and roots the target in place for 1 second. Junkrat and his allies cannot trigger the trap, and only one can be active on the map at any time. The visibility of the trap is obscured for the enemy, but they can destroy it if spotted. Junkrat's passive is Total Mayhem. Drop bombs on death. When Junkrat dies, he drops 5 grenades that quickly explode, dealing 60 damage each for a total of 300 damage to anyone who tries to teabag him. Junkrat's ultimate is Riptire. Drive and detonate an exploding tyre. Once started, you have 10 seconds to pilot the tyre to the desired place and explode it for up to 600 damage with a knockback. The tyre can climb walls and other objects by holding down the jump key. When ready to go boom, press either mouse button. The tyre has 100 hit points and can be destroyed by the enemy team. If Junkrat is killed while piloting the tyre, you are able to finish using the ultimate before the spawn timer starts. Okay, that's the ability, so when should you play Junkrat? He is a high damage hero who excels at defending chokes and loves a high ground advantage. For this reason, he is stronger when defending, but he can work on attack if the defending team are grouping together. Junkrat is a medium difficulty hero who is a lot of fun and can be effective for a new player, but will take some time to master. Landing those grenades when it really matters is not an easy thing to do. Spam those grenades at all times, bounce them off walls and objects to get them round corners where the enemy might be grouping up, helping you get some damage in and making it hard for them to push through. Try to get a high ground advantage whenever possible so you can rain pain all day long and it's very hard for anyone to shoot back. Random spam is all well and good when bouncing grenades into a choke, but to get good at Junkrat you'll need to be able to hit enemies in open spaces and close quarters. Lead your target and try to predict the knockback from the grenade explosion. I still need a lot of practice on this, but it is so satisfying when you can two-shot someone. Junkrat's Concussion Mine is one of the most versatile abilities in the game. It is a fairly low cooldown movement ability that either gets you quickly back into the fight after a death, or move around different height levels to keep the enemy guessing where your next volley of grenade spam is coming from. The mine's knockback can put some immediate distance between you and a close range damage dealer, or, as with all the knockbacks, to push somebody off the map. When in close range, the mine can be used as a fast 120 damage burst. A quick combo worth learning is Shoot, Concussion Mine, Detonate in quick succession if someone is on top of you. The default keys are left click, shift, right click. And finally, you can use the Concussion Mine with the Steel Trap to do 200 damage to whatever unfortunate soul happens to step on it. The best place to set up this death trap is on a flank where a nice juicy Tracer or Genji will be killed by the combo. After the trap is set, wait for the alert that the steel trap has been triggered, then detonate the mine. Boom! Splat! Lovely. The steel trap can also be used to cover an escape or just tossed out during a big fight to try and lock someone down. 1 second being rooted is a long time in this fast-paced game, and most heroes will easily die in that time, especially when you add the 80 damage that the trap does. Junkrat's passive is not something you can really use to gain any kind of advantage, it is simply something the enemy has to play around. You don't want to jump down from your height advantage just because if you die you might deal 300 damage to someone. Try to remember when fighting against Junkrat to not linger around his corpse. We all forget about it all the time, so try not to feel too bad if your death is featured in this part of the video. Junkrat is weak on long sightlines and big open spaces where it is difficult for him to get his grenades across the distance, and snipers like Widowmaker and Hanzo can pick him off. Reaper will annihilate Junkrat at close range, and Reaper's Shadow Step ability means he will often avoid the trap mine combo. Finally, Pharah can be the bane of Junkrat's existence. While it is possible to airshot the floating pain in the arse, and believe me, when you do, you will need someone to high-five stat, Pharah has a huge advantage over you and will have a much easier time taking you down. While using Junkrat's ultimate, he is completely vulnerable to the enemy, so make sure you find a nice safe spot before firing up that riptire. The tire is pretty easy to destroy, and there is bonkers amounts of audio to let the enemy know that the tire is coming, but there are some tricks. It can climb walls and objects, so use this to drop it on the enemy from unexpected places, and if the tire rests up against a wall, the engine sound will dim. Use this to trick the enemy into thinking the tire is not close or destroyed. Then bam, boom, dead bad guys. And that about wraps up Junkrat. Deal massive AoE damage to groups of enemies and set sneaky traps to protect your team's flanks. Then go for big multi-kills or assassinate key targets with his Riptire ultimate. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please click that like button. If you have any questions or disagree with anything said, please put it in the comments below. I'm intending to have all 21 release heroes covered before the game is out on May 24th, so subscribe to get all that future content. Take it easy, and I'll see you soon.